Hi everyone, welcome back to Cypress series. In the previous video, we saw how we can create a customized script using Cypress and how to generate the report using Mocha Awesome Report Generator. In today's video, we are going to cover one very important topic, which is CICD. We will see how we can set up our CICD pipeline using GitHub Action. So GitHub Action is actually offered by GitHub only. GitHub Action, you can achieve scheduling, you can achieve parallelization, you can run your test case on Docker containers also. So as part of this, we are going to cover these 4 topics. So first we will see how we can run all the Cypress test cases on CICD pipeline. Second one is, if you have a customized script created in package.json and you want to run that as part of the execution on CICD pipeline, so how we can run that, we will cover that part as well. Then we are going to cover the cross-browser testing, because by default it runs on Electron browser. But if you want to run on browsers like Chrome or Firefox, so we can achieve that also using GitHub Actions. And last but not the least, the parallel execution, very important topic. How we can achieve parallel execution using GitHub Actions, we will cover that also. So first of all, let's try to understand what is GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is a CI/CD platform using which you can automate tasks like build, test, and deployment pipeline. So it's like the manual task, whatever you do, you can just automate it. For example, whenever you make any changes to your code, you run all the test cases on your local machine just to make sure nothing is broken, right? So these things you can just automate it using GitHub Action. You can just create a workflow file, and whenever you push your code to the main branch, so automatically that pipeline would be triggered. So it's just like having a set of instructions that your GitHub repo follows whenever any specific event happens, whenever any action takes place. Actions are like pushing the code to the main branch or taking a pull request from the main branch. So these are the different actions. So there are multiple components which are there as part of the GitHub Actions. So whenever we'll start writing our YML file, our workflow file, we should know the different components first. For that, I have created a mind map. So this is a mind map for components of GitHub Action. Component over here is workflow. Workflow is like an automated process that will run on one or more jobs. It's just defined by a YML file, which is there in your GitHub repo, and it is triggered based on some events. So the events can be your push. Whenever you're pushing any code to the main branch, so that is a event for us. Whenever you're taking a pull request from the main branch, that is an event. So events are basically specific activities which triggers any workflow. So there can be multiple events. These are just few events which are very common, but you can have multiple events over here. Then there are jobs also. So jobs are basically a set of steps which are there in a workflow and which will be executed based on that event. You can have multiple jobs. You can have single job also. And inside the jobs, we have steps. So steps are like whenever you want to fetch a code from GitHub repo, that is a step, and it uses the GitHub Actions. Fine. So over here, we can have multiple steps. We can have single step also. If you want to explore more about the components of GitHub Action, you can just go to this official website about understanding GitHub Action, and you can read over here. They have very good and detailed documentation. You can read about all the components over here. Okay. Now we will start writing the code. But before that, we need to know GitHub Actions are defined using simple YML files, and these YML files needs to be inside a specific directory, which is .github workflows. So you can read over here. So workflows are defined in this directory in your GitHub repo, and it can have multiple workflows also. So now we will start writing the code. Let's go to our editor. This is my project, and in our project currently, we don't see any directory named as .github workflows, right? We can just see Cypress and Node module. So the first step is to create the directory inside your root project. So let me go to the terminal and just create a directory. First of all, it's .github. So first we will create .github. Then we will go inside GitHub, and then we will create a new directory, which is workflows. Fine, because like we saw, all the YML files needs to be inside this directory. Now we have our workflows and GitHub created. Let's see over here. So we can see .github workflows created. Now we will create our first YML file. So I'll just go over here and create a new file, and I'm just naming it as build.yml. And now we will write our code over here. So the YML syntax over here, you will write the event like I explained in the mind map, we write over here the events. The event can be push or pull request, right? Whatever event you want to trigger. Then the jobs, we have multiple jobs. We can write the job name, and inside that we will write our steps. So the steps are basically, if you want to check out all the code from GitHub repository, we have to create a step for that. And inside that, we have to use the GitHub Actions. So all these GitHub Actions are easily available online. You can check it online and download everything, right? You have to just copy the GitHub action name, and we can use it directly in the YML file. So for creating a YML file, what I will do, I will take you to the Cypress official website where they already have defined a workflow sample for us. We can just copy the same workflow and then update it as per our requirement. So let me take you to the official website. So this is the official GitHub repository. You can see GitHub Cypress-io and GitHub Actions. And over here, they have multiple GitHub Actions defined over here. So first one is for the end-to-end testing. I will just copy this one and we will go to our code and paste it. So I'll explain you what is the structure, how they have created a YML file. So first one is the name, whatever is the name of the workflow. So they have created end-to-end test. We can again edit also. You can edit it. Let's say you want to create multiple YML files later on. You can create it, let's say for the smoke, for regression. So let me add over here a regression. Okay. And next one is our event. So by using on, you can define your event. So event is push, which means if any code is pushed into a GitHub repository, your actions would be triggered. This job would be triggered automatically. Okay. So this is the definition of this trigger. And if you hover over it, we can see over here, this is the name of the GitHub event that triggers the workflow. Okay. And next one is jobs. So this is my job, provide any name. So they have provided Cypress run. We will keep it as it is. And then it is then runs on, that means it is running on which type of machine. So this is Ubuntu. We can keep it as it is. Fine. Next is our steps. So these are all our steps. So first step is to get the code. First of all, we have to fetch the code which is there in GitHub repo. So using this GitHub action, it will check out all the code. Fine. Next one is the GitHub action for running the Cypress test case. So it will install all the NPM dependencies, it will cache them, and it will run all the Cypress test cases. So this is the official GitHub actions which we are using over here. This is installing all your NPM dependencies and then running all the test cases. So all the test cases, I mean, whatever test cases are there in your end-to-end package. So currently we have 2 test cases. It will be running all the test cases, these 2 test cases on the CICD. And the prerequisite is all your code needs to be there on the GitHub repo, because this is not running on your local machine. This is running on the remote. So all the test cases, first of all, it will check out all the code from your GitHub repository, and then it will run all the test cases present inside the end-to-end folder. Okay. And this will be getting triggered only when we are pushing our code to the main branch, because our event trigger over here is on push. Fine. So let's push our code and let's see how it is working. Let me add it. So let's see whatever files we change, and then we will add it. So now I'm pushing my code and we will see on GitHub how it is working. So after pushing our code, let's see. Let me refresh the page over here and we will see a workflow. We can see build.yml got added over here. And now you have to go to your actions tab, and we will see a YML file getting triggered, a workflow getting triggered over here, because we passed the name as YML file. So this is the commit message. If you go to this file, just click on this and go inside this, you will see the execution summary. So our file name is build.yml, and over here we can see all the steps. So this is our job name, Cypress run, and we have all the steps defined over here. We can see the execution logs. So you can see the execution over here, and the test case getting executed. First test case got passed. Now it is executing the second one. My execution is complete now. And if I go one step back, I can see the summary. So over here, we can see, if I take you to summary page, we can see the summary, 2 test case got passed, and the execution logs also we can see directly. So this is amazing. This is where you can see all the logs, and your CICD pipeline is all set up by just using that simple build YML file. So it's super easy. You just have to make sure the syntax is correct and all your the actions which you are using is the updated action, fine, and it will run all your test cases. So this is the case when you want to run all the test cases which are there in your end-to-end folder. But if you want to run some specific script, like we saw in last video, we created a script in package.json, which is this one, test add to cart. If you want to run some specific test case, some specific script, so how we can do that? So on our local machine, how do we execute it? We do this by running npm run and the script name. Okay, so similar case we have to do, same thing we have to do in our YML file as well. Over there also we have to pass the command. So in the command, we have to pass npm run and the script name. Okay, but you have to make sure the syntax is correct. So we are going to create a new build YML file. So I will just name it as script build.yml. And over here, we will just copy the same code because the base thing is same. The base code is same. Okay. And over here, what you have to do additionally to run the script. So over here, you have to use with and we have to pass the command. So the command is basically your command which we are running from our package.json. So same command you have to use npm run and the script name. So go to your package.json and just copy this script. Fine. And this script you have to copy in your YML file. So this is super easy. So everything is same, first of all, because these are the basic steps. These are the prerequisite. First of all, you will check out the code and all the scenarios, you have to check out the code. You have to get the code from your GitHub repository, and then we are running our Cypress test case. But over here, we are running some script. Instead of running all the test cases from end to end, we are running our script. Okay, now let's push this one and let's see if it is getting executed or not. So one more thing, we will change the name also. So let me change it to sanity build. Otherwise, our workflow name would be same, and it will create a confusion in the actions tab. So let me push it now. So git status, we'll see what all files we changed. So currently it's showing single file, and this is the file which we added. And let me commit it. So git commit -m, the message which we want to pass, the sanity build. And then I will push it. So now after pushing, if I go to my GitHub repo, and in the actions tab, if you go to actions tab only, you will see two workflows getting triggered. So first one is the regression end-to-end test case, because that is the one which we created earlier. That was also on the push. And this one is for the single script. So let's see for this one, sanity build. And if I go inside this, in the logs, we will see. Earlier, it was searching for two spec files. But over here, we will see the spec file would be single. So you see the browser is Electron because it runs default on Electron browser, and the spec file is one which is add to cart test. So this add to cart test is coming from our script, which we defined in package.json. Fine. So over here, it is not running two test cases, only one test. If I show you the other action file, I want to show you the other action file which we created, the regression one. In the regression, if I show you the logs, you would see two spec files. In the logs, it will show you. So you can see over here two spec files, because by default, it was searching for the files which are there in end-to-end. So you can see it is searching for end-to-end package, and inside that, it is executing all the test cases. But with our script, we pass single test case and it is running only one test case. Fine. So this is how you can do for single or any script which you are creating in your package.json. So the next thing is we will see how to run Cypress test case on different browsers like Chrome and Firefox, because by default, it runs on the Electron browser. So as of now, for the first two cases, we already checked on the CICD pipeline, it is running on the Electron browser. But if I want to test on Chrome browser or Firefox browser, so for that, we will create a new build file over here. So let me go to the project, and inside my workflows, I will create a new file and I'll name it as browser build.yml. Guys, you can pass any name, just pass a meaningful name, and then you can create a YML file. And I will copy the same code from here. Fine. So this will be running all my test case, but over here we will pass the browser. So for browser also, you have to pass like this. You have to pass the browser name. So whatever browser name, let's say you want to pass. So all the browsers which are supported by Cypress, it's not like you are passing any browser. It should be supported by Cypress. So for example, we want to run on Firefox, so I'll be passing Firefox, and rest of the code would be same. I will just change the name again over here. So browser test build. Okay. And now let's push my code and let's see for this one as well. So let's see what all files we changed and let's add it. So guys, you should be aware about the basic Git commands because this is the regular day-to-day work which you have to do. So you should be knowing the basic commands for Git. At least git, add, commit, push, you should be knowing. Okay. So browser build and let me push it. So now if we go back, there will be 3 workflows getting executed in your actions tab. So if I go to the actions tab and I'll maximize it. So now you can see 3 workflows are getting triggered. Sanity, regression, browser build. So this was our browser build. And inside this, if we see, so in the logs, we would see the browser should be Firefox. The browser is Firefox 116 and it is again running in the headless mode. And now we didn't pass any specific script. In this case, it is executing for all the commands which are there in your end-to-end package, and it will be executing your test case. So we can see both the test case got executed and both the test cases are again passed. And in the logs, we can see 2 spec files, browser is Firefox instead of Electron. And if we go down, there will be a table which will be showing your test cases passed or not. Okay, so this is also simple. You just need to know. You don't have to worry about the, learning all the syntaxes because you can directly copy the GitHub actions available online, but you should be knowing what GitHub action you have to use. Fine, this is important. It is not like you have to learn the GitHub action because it will keep on changing, the version keep on changing, but you need to understand for browser, how you're going to handle it, for some specific script, how you're going to handle it. So this is required, okay? And the execution summary, we can see over here how much test cases got passed and how many got failed, 0 test case got failed, and the total duration. Fine. So this is how we are running for the specific browser. Now, the last topic is parallel execution using GitHub Actions. In parallel execution, what we'll do, we'll create multiple jobs. Like we saw in mind maps, in a single workflow, we can have multiple jobs also. So as of now, we saw all the examples with single job. But in case of parallel execution, we will create multiple jobs and then those jobs will be called in parallel. Those jobs will be running in parallel, not in sequential. Okay, so now let's go to this browser build and see over here, we have a single job. So this is my single job. This is the job name and this is my single job. But we can have multiple jobs also inside this and individual jobs because this is all running in the sequential way. Single job will have multiple steps. These are all running in the sequential way. But if I have 2 jobs, it will be running independently. It will not be running in the sequential way. It will be running parallelly. So in that case, what we will do? We will create a job, a workflow in which we will have 2 jobs. Fine. So let's create a new build, new YML file over here, and I will name it as parallel test build.yml. And I will copy our basic code, which is this one. Let me copy it. Close the other tabs. So we can just focus on this one. In this case, what we will do? In this case, we will pass our 2 jobs. So in this case, what we will do, we will create one more script in the package.json. So earlier we created single script. Let's create one more script and let's name it as register flow, registration flow or register flow. And then I'll just copy this one and I will update my path over here in the script. And it was add to cart. My other test case is a registered test. And I will just pass the same name. So registered test. So now we have 2 scripts created over here, right? So 2 scripts we have created over here. If you want to run this individually, if you have multiple scripts in your package.json, how you're going to run them. So in the parallel execution, what we will do, we will pass our commands to over here instead of browser. So let me run it for Electron only, but the script name we can copy from package.json. So the first script is add to cart. Over here in the parallel build test, and I will pass the script name as npm run and my script name. Okay, so this is my first job. So now I will just copy this one So same job I will copy and I will modify the job name, and then we will add the different script name over here. Fine. So this is my Cypress run. Let me name it as register flow run. And this one, maybe we can change the name to add to cart run. Okay. So we have two jobs running over here. So this will be running in the parallel, and the script name we can change over here. So first script is add to cart. Second script we can copy from package.json. So this is my script name, test colon register flow. So I will just change over here, and that's it. What you have to do, you have to pass multiple jobs over here, and then you have to pass same code, because we are the basic script. This is our prerequisite, checking out the code, and then we are just changing the command name over here. So I will just change the name and I'll push my code again. So this is my new workflow file, and let's push it. So let's see what all files we changed, and then let's add it. So it's showing the change in package.json as well. We created a new file. Let me add this to one, and I will just commit it, and then we will push our code. Okay. So test parallel, and then let's push it. Now, if we go back, we will see one more workflow getting triggered over here. So we have sanity, we have regression, we have browser, and now we have parallel test build as well. So if I go inside this, so you see we have two jobs getting executed. So earlier it was single job, but now we have two jobs getting executed, and it is all running in parallel. It is not running in the sequential way. So if I go to first one, you will see the execution logs for the first job. And if I go to the second one, it will show you the execution log for the second one. Okay, so this is super helpful when you have multiple scripts. You can do the parallel execution in this way as well using GitHub Actions. You can create multiple scripts, and then you can run those scripts in the parallel. See, we have two jobs over here, and in the summary also you can see we have two jobs getting executed. The duration of both the jobs are different over here. If I take you inside the add to cart, you will see. Okay, so this is how you can run your test case in parallel using GitHub Action. This is super easy. You have to just create multiple scripts, and then you can execute your test case in parallel using GitHub Action. You have to create multiple jobs. Fine. So this topic also we covered. So with this, we have covered all the 4 topics today. So we covered how we can run end-to-end test case on CICD, how we can perform cross-browser testing using different browsers like Firefox, and how we can run parallel execution. So I hope you understand the concept. If you have any queries or any suggestion, feel free to add in the comment, and I'll try to reply. I have also created some blogs around it. If you want to learn through blogs, I will share those in the comment section, and you can check that. And if you're liking the concept, please like and subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends.